Hi everyone, how are you doing? So in this video, I'll be sharing with you the recent JSW Steel results that the company has published. Let me share my screen with you guys. I hope you can see my screen. Let me just zoom in. Right. So let's start with the highlights first, and then we'll move on to the subsequent sections. So the standard, we'll take a look at the standalone performance only because we are not bothered about the consolidated performance. So if you're not sure what consolidated and standalone performance means, so the standalone performance just means that how is the company performing on its own level without including any subsidiaries or anything else, right? And consolidated means how are the subsidiaries of the company are performing along with the including the performance of the company and so on, right? So we are just concerned about the standalone performance in here. So the company says that crude steel production has an increase on a quarter-on-quarter basis, which is 30%. So if you consider the previous quarter results, they weren't that great because of the lockdown happening. So this number is uh, actually useless. Anyways, we have saleable steel sales at 4.12 million tons. Again, quarter on quarter, the previous quarter was uh, pretty bad, so we can't compare this actually, even though the number is huge. Revenue from operations, so this has been increasing. I'll discuss this in the later section. Operating EBITDA, so EBITDA has been increasing actually, and this is again a good point for the company because if the EBITDA increases, that means the company is generating enough cash flow. Next we have net profit after taxes, 1692. So on a quarter on quarter basis, this can be a good number, but on year basis, this is actually not good. I'll explain you why. So yeah, these are the few highlights of the results, and now let's move on to the performance section. So this is the management commentary, and this is just the highlight of what I discussed above. Again, I'll just explain you each point over here. So the company says that the operating costs were down primarily on account of lower prices of imported coal, better operating leverage, and savings in procurement costs and fixed overheads. That means uh, operating costs were overall low for the company, which means that margins would be obviously higher because they were buying at a low cost and selling at a high cost, right? So cost price of raw materials was less and selling price was high. If you know profit and loss, then you would know that the margins or the profit is going to be higher. However, the company says that this benefit in cost was partially offset. That means this profit was reduced with an increase in the iron ore prices. Right. So this is what the company is saying. And like I said, the EBITDA has been growing by a factor of 24.9%, which is good. It's good, not that good, but uh, if you can see something positive over here, then that is good, right? And also, one another thing to note in here is that the company says that the company's net gearing on net debt to equity ratio is 1.19x. I'll explain you what what debt to equity ratio is in later part of the video. But for now, this is the management commentary, and let's move down. So this outlook part, I'm not going to discuss it right now. This is just the management commentary of how they think the company is going to perform in the near future or in the coming quarters. Oops. Let's just scroll down below. Right. So if you can see this sheet, I'll just zoom in for you. I hope this is visible to you guys. Right. So the columns that we are interested in are, the first one is this, which is the recent financial and audited performance in numbers. This is the previous quarter's performance, and this is the last year's same quarter performance. So this is Q2 2020, this is Q1 2020, and this is Q2 2019, right? So comparison of these two would be quarter on quarter, and comparison of these two would be on year basis, right? Let's start with our first row, revenue from operations, gross sales. Gross sales, as you can see, is increasing on a quarter on quarter basis. Uh, it's better if you don't consider this number much, because the previous quarter results are very bad, right? So obviously you're going to see an increase in numbers on quarter basis, but don't pay much heed to these numbers. Let's compare it on a year basis. So there is slight increase in the numbers, but not that great. So again, uh, on a year basis, there is some slight increase in the gross sales revenue. And the company says that total revenue from operations has been increasing on a quarter basis, as well on a year basis. Again, not much difference between previous year same quarter results and this year's quarter results. Then if you would look at the expenses section, you can see total expenses over here. Total expenses incurred in quarter two were approximately 14,000 crores. In the previous quarter, they were 10,000 crores, and in the last year, same quarter, it were the costs were 14,000 crores only. So the expenses have been reducing, but not that much. You can see, right? It was 14,430. Now it's previously it was 14,670, and now it's 14,430. So not much of a difference in the expenses section, but yeah, there has been some decrease. And if there is a decrease, that means, yeah, so if there is a decrease in the expenses, that means the company, this is good for the company. But as you can see, there is not much difference. So again, we will not consider this as a major improvement in the balance sheet or the revenue sheet. Then once again, let me just scroll down below. Right. Next we have net profit loss after tax. So yeah, so the profit has been increasing on a quarter on quarter basis. So wherever you see the brackets over here, this means that there was a loss, right? So instead of mentioning a minus sign, they write brackets over the balance sheet so that it at least looks good on the eyes. Right. So on a quarter on quarter basis, the profit has been increasing, obviously. But if you would look at if you would compare this number with the previous year, same quarter results, and you would see there's a huge difference. Almost 30, I guess 37% it was. So there's a decrease of 37% in the profits that they have earned this year in this quarter. Right. This is bad. And I guess there was one more point. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Right. So if you can see earnings per share, the earnings per share have been increasing on a quarter on quarter basis, but on a year basis, they have been actually, losing half. So this has been halved on a year basis, which is very bad. And talking about debt to equity ratio, which was mentioned earlier, where it was, yeah. So here it's mentioned debt to equity. So I'll explain to you what debt to equity means. So debt to equity ratio is, calculated by analysts, and this ratio determines the outlook of the company. As in, if you're a shareholder, then would you invest in this company for a longer term, and would this company survive in the worst case scenario? So if the debt is huge, and there's some major, natural calamity or something else like coronavirus again happening, and if the debt piles up, then the company would have huge problems in paying this debt, because the equity uh, is not up to the mark, right? So debt to equity is a ratio, and this is calculated by mentioning all of the debt that the company has and all of the equity flow that the company has. So obviously, if the equity is quite low and the debt is quite huge, then there would be problems when the company has to actually repay the debt. So ideally, debt to equity ratio should be less than one. For example, the recent results that I mentioned about Colgate, if you haven't checked out that video, please do check it out. So Colgate's debt to equity ratio is almost zero, which is very good. The company has enough cash flow to reduce its debt if there is any, right? But in this case, it's 1.19, which is bad. If debt to equity ratio is greater than one, then it's bad for the company. All right, so this was all about the financial performance, and I also wanted to highlight actually these points. So this is ticker tape, and I was just scrolling through ticker tape, finding points to discuss with you guys. I found out that the promoter has actually pledged some shares of the company. If I just scroll on below, yeah. So the pledge promoter holdings right now is 11.58%, and in June it was 15.54%. So the promoter has reduced the pledge holdings, which is, you can say, sort of a good point. But at the same time, if you would look at domestic institutional holdings change, so the DIIs are, selling this. The DIIs are increasing their stake in the stock, whereas FIIs are reducing their stake, and retail investor is constantly participating in acquiring this stock. So again, some of the points that I thought that you'd like to see. I'll just scroll up. Again, this has decreased for an institutional holding. Yeah, so these were the major points that I wanted to mention to you guys. Right, and talking about levels, so I wouldn't say that this company is for long-term investors. I wouldn't. So personally, I wouldn't invest in this company. A lot of reasons, because the debt to equity ratio, which I consider a huge deal, is pretty bad. Right. So talking about technical levels, if you can see, I've already marked some levels over here. So the company, so the price action recently broke this resistance area over here, right? The price action broke. It's a one-day chart, right? So the price action broke this resistance area with huge volumes, and it's about to touch this resistance area over here, right? So I don't know what's going to happen on Monday or the next week or the next to next week, but these are the levels. So if the market perceives the result as a good result, then it will certainly shoot up and touch this resistance level, and then you may see it falling down or retracing a bit. Otherwise, if the market perceives these results as bad, then the stock would surely retest this level, 309. And if the price action breaks uh, this support zone, then it will surely come down to this 271 level. So again, I'll not participate in this stock for a long term point of view, but if I were participating um, for a short term play, then I would surely look out for these levels. And yeah, if you are holding at these levels right now, I would suggest you to look out for the market that opens on Monday. However the market reacts, you have to be cautious of these levels. If any of these levels breaks or touches, then make sure to exit or square up your position. So this was a short, you can say, analysis on the financial results of JSW Steel. If you like the video, please hit the like button and comment down below if you have any questions. Do subscribe to the channel for more such videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.